unearned fame and fortune are far more destructive than they might appear. And right now, there's no organization on the planet that proves this point more than the WNBA. The league just posted its highest average game viewership in 24 years. They're bringing in massive new sponsorships, at least by the league standard. They're selling out arenas, which used to be unheard of for the WNBA. And this should be a dream come true for everybody involved in the WNBA.
Ever wondered why a WNBA superstar like Caitlin Clark is catching heat? It's not for the reasons you'd think. She's boosted league viewership, brought in major endorsements, and elevated the profile of women's basketball across the board. But despite all that success, some WNBA veterans have started throwing out unexpected and often shocking criticisms. What's really behind the backlash? Let's break it down.
From the executives to the players to the reporters who, for their sins in a past life, have been cursed with the job of covering a women's basketball league, everyone should be overjoyed. But there's a big problem. All of this success, every bit of it, is due to the presence of one player in the league, and that is a generational talent named Caitlin Clark, who of course you've heard of, and still probably the only WNBA player whose name you know.
Stay tuned as we uncover the shocking truth behind one of the biggest controversies in WNBA history. You won't believe what some players are saying behind the scenes. Matt Walsh isn't holding back. He's exposing the double standards with hard facts, receipts, and isn't afraid to call people out by name. Every time Caitlin Clark steps on the court, the entire league feels it. She's not just making waves in women's basketball, she's creating a full-blown tsunami.
She's the reason the WNBA just won the lottery. Without Caitlin Clark, nobody cares about any of these players or the league. With her, most people still don't care, but a lot more people care than did before. And everybody knows that, right? Therefore, everyone in the league other than Caitlin Clark is doing exactly what so many lottery winners do. They're allowing all of their worst personality traits to surface because they just can't help themselves.
The WNBA is experiencing a surge like never before. Viewership is skyrocketing, and league executives are stunned by the record-breaking numbers. It's as if a switch was flipped overnight, turning women's basketball into the hottest ticket in town. Packed arenas and electric crowds have become the new norm, creating an atmosphere the league has never seen before.
You know, there are a lot of stories out there about lottery winners who go on to destroy their lives. Something like 70% of them supposedly go bankrupt within a few years. It's not hard to see how that would happen. When you give a lot of money and attention to a person who didn't earn any of it, that person doesn't suddenly change overnight. Instead, more often than not, all of their worst character traits are amplified 10 times over, and in many cases, that leads to a very public and humiliating collapse. This is a principle that doesn't just apply to individuals, it turns out. It applies to organizations, too.
It's like the floodgates have burst open. Everyone suddenly wants a slice of the WNBA spotlight. Big money sponsorships are pouring in, major deals are being signed, and players are reaping the rewards. The league is drawing attention from all corners, pulling in a fresh wave of fans. But here's the twist. Not everyone's thrilled. Despite all the success, some players are voicing complaints. Hard to believe, right? In the midst of this historic rise, tension is quietly building behind the scenes.
There's been a lot of resentment in this league lately, in particular since the season began. And the thing about resentment, as we all know, is that it tends to fester over time. It gets worse and worse. That's exactly what we're seeing now.
It's a real paradox. After years of pushing for growth and recognition, the league is finally in the spotlight. But some players seem unhappy with the very success they've worked so hard to achieve. So what's really going on? Is it jealousy over Caitlin Clark's rapid rise and star power? Are veterans feeling threatened by what her presence means for their own careers? Or is there a deeper issue simmering beneath the surface that hasn't been fully addressed?
Race hysteria in the WNBA has somehow reached yet another inflection point. The league is currently in the midst of what really might be the single most contrived racism scandal, certainly in any professional sport, at least since the fake noose in Bubba Wallace's garage. Specifically, a bunch of WNBA players have come out claiming that they've been victimized by racial slurs and other forms of racist attacks. Like, a lot of players are claiming this.
Picture this. Just as the WNBA reaches new heights in popularity and mainstream attention, a bombshell drops that threatens to shake the entire league. Allegations of racism surface, serious, divisive, and potentially explosive. It's like tossing a lit match into a room full of gasoline, and the fallout could change women's basketball forever.
How do you feel about what has happened over the past year with the W since you first came in to where it is now? And obviously the game has grown and there's new fans, but how do you appreciate the new fans without all the noise that's coming?
I don't appreciate the new fans that sit there and yell racial slurs at myself, my teammates, and the people that I play against, because yeah, those might be opponents, but those are friends too. You know, they don't deserve that. So I don't appreciate the new fans. I think it's okay to do that.
In a shocking revelation, one of the biggest stars in the game, Brittany Griner, exposes a disturbing trend. New fans are hurling obscene comments during games. How could this be happening in the midst of the WNBA's rising success?
The question that Brittany Griner was asked was about the massive growth of this league, which was dead in the water just a year ago and had been dead for its entire existence. And the reporter asked, "What do you think of all the new fans?" And like in any other context, when someone says, "What do you think of all the new fans that are coming in?" Usually it's, "Oh, it's great. We love how everybody is supporting the league and we're so grateful." None of that. Instead of some gratitude, some appreciation for the people who have saved the WNBA, who pay to come out to see bad players like Brittany Griner, instead of that, we get resentment.
But Griner isn't alone in speaking out. Superstar Alyssa Thomas stands by her, offering strong support and sharing her own powerful remarks on the situation.
Honestly, it's been a lot of nonsense. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it.
That's a bold statement from a player of Thomas's caliber, and as an 11-year veteran, she didn't mince words. But hold on, something doesn't seem right. Matt Walsh, never one to shy away from controversy, starts questioning the validity of these claims, and he's not the only one who's skeptical.
In other words, they're now accusing the people who have started showing up to WNBA games for the first time in more than 2 decades of being horrible racists.
The big question everyone's asking is, in an age where everyone has a camera in their pocket, why is there no footage of these incidents? With fans packed into arenas and phones raised to capture every moment, why aren't we seeing proof of what's being claimed?
So now for the fine print. None of these racial slurs we're told about, some of which have supposedly occurred during games, none of them, as far as I'm aware, have actually been caught on camera. Interesting. There's no visual or audio evidence that might substantiate any of this. Not a single credible report, even. That's extremely unusual, obviously, given that there are cameras and smartphones at every WNBA game.
Walsh isn't mincing words as he boldly calls these accusations false. It's a strong stance that's sparking plenty of discussion. But let's take a step back and ask, why would players fabricate something so serious? That's the question. That's got fans and critics buzzing. Are they trying to stir up drama, or is there something deeper going on behind the scenes?
Then the videos would be all over the internet. But those videos are not all over the internet. They're not anywhere on the internet. So instead, we have to take the player's word for it.
The entire WNBA ecosystem is caught in the crossfire. Fans, sponsors, and the league's future hanging in the balance. On one side, players are pushing for change and expressing feelings of victimization, while on the other, skeptics like Walsh are demanding solid proof before jumping to any conclusions.
Nothing about the answer makes sense, even in that context. I mean, why would that be the first thing that Griner mentions when the reporter asks about the fans? Why not say, well, the overwhelming majority of the fans are great people. I'm so happy that they're paying money, and I'm so grateful to have them. Like, why wouldn't you, even if this was happening, why wouldn't you start with that?
Picture this. The energy in the arena is electric, with Caitlin Clark dominating the court, when suddenly everything shifts. Rewind to that pivotal moment. Clark hits the floor, clutching her face after DeCarrington goes for the ball. The crowd gasps in shock. The refs don't make a call, and social media explodes. Was it a freak accident, or was there intent behind it? The replay is being dissected from every angle.